Here we go. When I was 19 years old, I decided to leave my country, my culture, and my family and move to the United States with just one goal: to win. I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it. I just had the determination to win in life. Within 6 years from when I arrived to the US, I went from being a dishwasher to attaining a college degree from a very well-known business school in the New England area. My life was going great. It seemed like everything I wished for magically appeared. However, the moment I finished college in 2008, it was as if my luck would end as well. For 1 year following my graduation, I sent about 1,000 job applications and no luck. What I found very interesting was the fact that I didn't even get a single email back. Not even the animated thank you emails that companies send you when you apply for a job. This is where I began to question a lot about life. I could not understand why so many people I knew were getting these amazing jobs and I didn't, even though I thought I was more qualified than them. From the summer of 2008 until April of 2010, I read many books about self-improvement. I tried everything from church, meditation, Reiki, and so many other things, and I still wasn't finding what I was looking for. In February of 2010, I was able to land a management training position at Enterprise Rent-A-Car in San Antonio. 2 months later, in April, I met Brent. And that's when I first learned about Namyo Horengekyo. We had two amazing hours talking about life. He then invited me to an SGI meeting, and my immediate response was where and when. One of the things he said to me that really made an impact in my life about this practice was, for every cause you make, there will always be an effect. And the second thing was, if you want to transform your life and to be absolutely happy, you have the power to do so. You can change everything you want, but it is up to you. I really like what he said, so I immediately started chanting. My first benefit came a week after I started chanting. I met my ex-girlfriend, which we'll call Anna. The second and best benefit I've received since I started practicing Nichiren Buddhism came the following week, so 2 weeks after I started chanting. I came to Austin, went out and drank a lot, and I decided to drive back to San Antonio. And I was pulled over by a state trooper and charged with a DWI. The next 8 hours in jail were a very interesting learning experience. For once, I was able to fully appreciate freedom. Secondly, even though a lot of things were going through my mind, the thing that gave me the most comfort was what Brent had said to me. Every cause you make will always have an effect. I knew I made the decision to drink and drive, and I knew that what I was going through in that moment were the effects of it. For whatever reason, made me have a feeling of tranquility and peace. The next day, I decided to tell my boss about what had happened over the weekend, and I was let go of my job that same evening. Within 24 hours, I had no job, I had no driver's license, I had a criminal offense in my driving record. I had to come up with $10,000 that I needed to cover in attorney fees and fines, and also my passport was taken. The worst part of that is that I only had $1,000 in my bank account, and I didn't know what I was going to do to come up with the money I needed, let alone how was I going to pay for rent or even have enough money for food. The same day, I contacted Brand and I told him about everything that had happened. He said to me, imagine a hose left on the grass for many years, and all of a sudden you open the water faucet. What do you think is going to come out first? That is exactly what is going on in your life. All the negative karma is coming out of you, and that is an amazing benefit, so congratulations. I really like this analogy, so I decided to keep chanting. Before things started to get better, they got worse. My driver's license was going to be suspended for 3 months. No company wanted to hire me until I had official charges in hand. My court date was not until October of 2010. Bills were piling up and I had no money to cover them. In the middle of August, I had to see my lawyer to give him some money to cover the court charges, and in that meeting he told me that I was $470 short. And if I had failed to pay them, I could go to jail for 10 days. In the middle of the conversation, though, my phone rang and I just didn't answer it. When I left his office, I was mentally preparing myself to go to jail for 10 days. While I was driving, I remember I had a call, and so I listened to my voicemail. There was a call from an accounting department at Enterprise telling me that they had been attempted to mail me a check to my house for a few months, but it would always bounce back. The lady asked me if I could if I could stop by and pick it up. So I just asked her, like, "Can you tell me how much this check is for?" And she said, $474. I really couldn't believe it. I remember the words by President Kid about no prayer goes unanswered. And also, this practice is about showing actual proof. By the end of October, I had a very strong desire of getting my gohonsen, and I called Brandon and I told him that. He said to me, "Great, now you need a butsudan." I was like, "I don't have any money." So he's like, "Well, there's gonna be a chanting session tonight at Suzanne's house, so why don't you come and we can chant together." The moment I came into that room, I fell in love with her butsudan. 4 days later, she got engaged, moving with her fiancé, and donated that butsudan.
Wow.
So I finally got my gohonsen on October 22nd, 2010. The same month, I was hired as an insurance agent for a company in San Antonio. Things seemed start to look up. But the following year, however, 2011 was not an easy year. My job was very challenging, and it was 100% commission-based salary. That meant I would have to pay. That meant I wouldn't get paid unless I sold. During that year, I barely made ends meet. I only had money to pay for rent, utilities, and food. I didn't make enough money to cover all my credit card payments or student loan payments for that whole year. I was also not able to attend my brother's college graduation. Which damaged our relationship. During that year, though, I shared a book with my mom when she visited me in San Antonio for my birthday. It was amazing chatting with her together. I later on connected her to the SGI in Mexico, and she began kind of practicing. Sometime around the end of 2010, I asked Senior in Faith in San Antonio why I wasn't getting a good job and what was I not doing right in living my life. And his response was, quote, "Luis, you have to remember that the point of this practice is to become absolutely happy. You have to develop a Luis that is not going to be swayed by his environment. You will have the job you want. I have no doubt about that. But life is about how you choose to live it, every second of it. Develop indestructible happiness." President Gita says, quote, "A leader in Buddhism wages a battle of deeper sort, transcending the social constructs that guide any age or society. Such leader possess matchless wisdom and compassion. It triumphs over the inner causes of suffering and delusion, and courageously leads people to conquer misery and acquire a state of indestructible happiness." I engraved that in my heart, and I decided to finally win. I decided to be that leader and to show myself the limitless potential one can have with this practice. In January 2012, I stepped up as a district leader. I began to truly do the core of this practice, faith, practice, and study. I decided to join the Gajukai Academy and attend every meeting I could. I also made the determination to study President Kia's guidance every day. And oh boy, my life was going to change again. In January 13th, I was once again let go of my job as an insurance agent. 2 weeks later, my girlfriend, Hannah, said to me, "I want to get my gohonsen." She finally received it. However, 2 weeks after that, she got her divorce and she broke up with me. The last week of February, my father called me to tell me that he wanted to give me a plane ticket to Mexico as a birthday present to visit my family. It was the first time I was going to be home as a Buddhist, and I was somehow afraid of what would happen. I was afraid of how my family would judge my actions, and I would wonder if they would notice any change in me. So I decided to just chant so much for every member of my family for their absolute happiness and to have an amazing cousin roof trip. When I landed in Mexico, the first thing my mom and I did was attending an SGI meeting. I was able to meet a lot of people my mom had been chanting with, and I was also able to attend a lot of SGI meetings while I was there. I shakabuku every person I spoke with, but I also shakabuku a cousin of mine who happens to run a government program for elderly people, and she was so happy to see a change in me that made her so open to listen to what I had to say. The very next day, she started reading President Caden's guidance to about 70 people. 70. My mom said to me, "Why are you so happy and not worried about your situation? And why do you go to these activities? Shouldn't you be worrying a little more about what's going to happen with your life?" What my mom said had a profound impact in my life. That really made me decide to chant the same way President Cato would. I decided to create as much value for people as I possibly could, no matter where I was or what my situation were. In that moment, I decided that it was my dream to spread Namyoho Renge Kyo around the world, the same way President Akita did when he traveled to all these countries. One of the best benefits I had from this trip is that my mom decided to go back to SGI activities and she started chanting again. I am proud to announce that she has been an active member for more than a year and a half now. When I returned to San Antonio around March 1st, 2012, I called my previous boss who said he was going to refer me to some of his college colleagues for job opportunities. However, he wouldn't answer my calls. Finally, after a lot of attempts to reach him, he called me back and said, "Luis, I cannot believe you have the nerve to call me after what you did." I didn't know what he was saying. He continued, Your girlfriend, Anna, called the senior partner at the firm to tell him that you took a debit card, and her debit card stole $10,000 from her, and you ran to Mexico, and I am prohibited to speak to you again, so please don't call me. And he hung up. I had no idea what was going on. I chanted numerous hours that night, as well as the following morning. I chanted to really know the root cause of my suffering. I chanted to find out exactly what I needed to transform in my life, and to have the wisdom to identify the problem and to never do it again. That evening, Anna's mom called, and I was so surprised. She called me to tell me that she wanted some rings back that she left at home. I also had the opportunity to ask her what was going on with her, and she said, when you left from Mexico, she had a nervous breakdown. She did so many things she had no idea she was doing. She took a plane to LA, and no one knew where she was for a few days. She finally was flew to DC over to me, and she's gonna be at a mental hospital for 1 month. Her bipolar disorder went out of control, and she needs to be in the hospital for a month. I immediately after I hung up the phone, and for the next 2 weeks, I chanted for nothing other than for her absolute happiness and for her immediate recovery. 15 days later, she called me to tell me how sorry she was for what she had done. She said that she didn't know what she was doing. She just felt that she was suffering so much. She also said that she would make things right and withdrew the charges she pressed on me for stealing her money. The next 3 months were crucial in my life. I had no money, I had no food. I sometimes had to go to the closest HEB, hoping there were a lot of sample tables so that I could feed myself. I ate a $1 burger from McDonald's for breakfast and dinner for the next 3 months. I couldn't also afford to pay rent anymore. My electricity was cut off in the middle of the Texas summer. the little money I had, I would use it to put gas in my car and attend as many SGI meetings as I could. Within a couple of weeks, 2 former bosses contacted me to tell me that their companies were hiring, and that they thought I would be a great asset to the team, and that they had arranged an interview for me. All the interviews went well. However, I would later on find out that the reason why I was turned down was because of my DWI. On the bright side, though, the companies that I was applying to were already calling me back. I was interviewing quite a lot, but all of them were turning me down because of the DWI. A member of the Gajokai Academy said to me, "Luis, you have to take full responsibility of that DWI, and you have to change your karma into mission and create value." I changed so much about this, and I came up with the idea of volunteering at Mothers Against Drug Drivers. I donated my time, and I told my experience to a bunch of teenagers. I would encourage men to really think before they would do anything if they were under the influence. In June 2012, I applied to three jobs. One of them was an investment banking firm in Houston, another one was at a tobacco company in Dallas, and the third job was a tech company here in Austin. All of a sudden, all 3 companies invited me for interviews. The company in Houston and Dallas even paid for a plane ticket and a hotel room just so that I could interview with them. When I interviewed with the CEO for the Austin job, his last question was, "Luis, what is your dream job?" I said, "I want to be in sales and I want to travel throughout South America." He responded, "You know you're applying for a job that entails focusing on the US market, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but you asked me what my dream job was." When I came back home from the interview that I had here in Austin, I found an eviction letter on my door. It said that I needed to leave my apartment within 4 days. When I saw that letter, I immediately did even go mute and I chatted for an hour. Right after that, a friend called me to tell me that she was looking for a roommate and that she needed to find someone ASAP. My state of life was so high that nothing was like really affecting me. All I chanted for was to have a safe place to live. Nichiren says, "Although I and my disciples may encounter various difficulties, if we do not harbor doubt in our hearts, we will, as a matter of fact, attain Buddhahood. Do not have doubts simply because heaven does not lend you protection. Do not be discouraged because you do not enjoy an easy and secure existence in life. This is what I have taught my disciples morning and evening, and yet they began to harbor doubts and abandon their faith. Foolish men are likely to forget the promises they made when the crucial moment comes." The following week, the 3 companies called me for a second interview. That entailed doing all the traveling again. When I arrived to meet the CEO of the tech company here in town, he said to me, "We already found someone to fill in the position you applied for. However, I thought about what you said to me in regards to your dream job, and I want to tell you that my business partner and I have decided to create a position just for you." We will be representing the company in South America. Expect an offer letter by Monday. I could not believe what he was saying. I was speechless. When Monday came around, the 3 companies called me to offer me the jobs. Once again, another challenge. This time I needed to chant to pick the right company. That was very easy though. I started this job about a year ago, and in that year I have traveled to Argentina, which I was actually able to invite my brother, and we were able to have a heart-to-heart conversation about our indifferences and work things out. I attended a meeting there in El Chacabuco with some people. I have also had the opportunity to travel to Colombia many times, and every time I travel, my company gives me the opportunity to rent an apartment rather than being in a hotel room. And the reason why I do this is so that I can organize chanting sessions and intro meetings. I do this no matter where I go. I have shakabuku many people in Colombia, and 2 of them already received Gohonse. The last trip I made was to Brazil, and I was able to shakabuku and take 6 people to intra-meetings. Someone from the SGI there told me that it was President Ikea's dream to visit the Amazon River. And to my fortune, I shakabuku the tour guide right there. And we chanted together to my Omamori Gohonse. I even shakabuku someone on top of the Christ, the Redeemer statue. I can keep going on and on about all the benefits that I have received and about all the amazing experiences I have lived this past year. And yes, I did all this. I chanted, I didn't give up, I did so many things. But President Ikea says, those who have a mentor in life are truly fortunate. The path of mentor and disciple is one that leads to personal development and growth. Those without a mentor may appear free and upholding to anyone, but without a solid standard or model on which to base themselves, their lives will be aimless and wandering. And someone said to me that President Ikeda, when he was at Harvard University, said, find someone who's truly, truly suffering. Find someone who's really, really having so many obstacles, and make that person your friend, and encourage that person every day until that person wins. That is exactly what Brad did. I wouldn't have been able to do all this without all the support from all the members that encouraged me and cheered for me every single day. All I can say though is that my determination is to introduce as many people as I can to this practice from all over the South America and the world. Every day I renew the vow I made many lifetimes ago to propagate the mystic law. And I will continue to do so in every morning going. Thank you so much.